The folks at Jinko Fishing not only bring you the Low Budget Live podcast, they also bring you all the action. Like the action that brand new tin cannon walking bait puts out there that makes fish go crazy, or the bait we're very excited about, just released at ICAST. The Dawn Minnow has a rolling action like nothing you've ever seen, especially paired with the Revolution jig head. Amazing, amazing combo right there if you're into the minnow shaking, and a lot of you are out there. I promise you, the Dawn gets a bite. They're all available right now at jinkofishing.com, and just for listening to this show, you can save 20%. Use code LBL20 at jinkofishing.com. Just for being a lowlifer, you get 20% off. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. All right, we got to hang the banner. That's right, the Bassmaster Classic winning original all-welded aluminum bass boat. I just got that X21 Pro back in the garage, the Espresso, as I am referring to it, the beautiful Express 21 Pro. I've got a little bit of tan sea deck in that bad boy this year. Still got that 250 Yamaha Show. Best hole shot in the game, more tackle storage than you can shake a stick at. Don't just take my word for it. Find a local dealer. Go sit in one. Go drive one. You will not regret it. Express Boats, building excitement since 1966.
Damn these Biloxi blues. It happens every night.
Every old night.
And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine. The summer heat never treats me kind. It leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time.
Sing.
This highway does not know my name, and I don't care. No, I don't care.
Not even kind of.
Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Low budget live, the not so live variety from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill, brought to you by Jinko Fishing. And my snotty nose is brought to you by a house full of youngins that started school and the weather changing and all the other excuses. But your boy, if I sound like 1970s radio DJ, that's what's going on, man. I've been living off a damn Tylenol, daytime severe cold and flu for the last couple of days. I don't really feel bad. I'm just like, in my head. And got too much going on, man. College football kicked off this weekend. Go Vols. It's always such a good time of year whenever you can start smack talking your buddies via text message, via social media. It was a crazy, crazy opening weekend, as this is the podcast for Tuesday, September 2nd. I hope you all had a great Labor Day weekend. I did a little dove hunting, did a little football watching, did a little fishing in that new Express X21 Pro. I shouldn't say fishing, more boat riding, and putting some time on the Yamaha because the boys have a tournament this coming weekend. But man, when it starts getting a little cooler, the days start getting shorter. I've been doing some work on my deer lease. Unreal. This is my favorite time of year. Also, if you listen to me next spring, I will also say, man, the spring is the days are getting longer. Fish are going on the bed. Turkeys are gobbling. This is my favorite time of year. But, yeah, I like the changes. I like the changes, I guess is what I'm getting at in this ramble. But good start to the football season for the Tennessee Volunteers. Not so good for some others out there. I know our time is coming. We played Syracuse. SEC play will be different, but I was pretty happy with it. Overall, it was a fun game. And I like our new quarterback, Joey Aguilar. Shout out Joey. Probably a big low lifer, I'm sure. And it went okay. Bama got beat. Unbelievable. Not real sure what's going on in Tuscaloosa. Florida State absolutely destroyed them. It was crazy to see. And I believe, just for a little football side talk, Kalen DeBoer better figure it out. Because Bama fans, man, we can't have a college football world where Bama isn't just dominant, And I think Saban, I saw something like against unranked opponents, Nick Saban was like 124-4 or something. And Kalen DeBoer is already, I forget. It's not good, though, in his 2 years there. So whoever got the job following Saban was going to be in the hot seat immediately anyways. And, man, he's not producing as far as Bama fans are concerned. And man, that talk's going to get louder if the season doesn't go their way. One loss doesn't keep you out of anything. It's one game. But, man, he better get it on the tracks. I know that. That's for sure. So, welcome back to the fall, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. Interesting announcement, and I had heard this was coming a little bit. Table Rock Lake will host Red Crest for next year. And for me, that's not the interesting part, really. I think that'll be a cool event. They're going to do everything at Bass Pro Shops, of course. You can't go to Table Rock and not hang out with Johnny Morris. Johnny, you ain't gonna slide in there and Johnny not know. You know what I mean? He's gonna be like, oh, we're doing this in my parking lot. We're gonna do this. We're gonna have a barbecue at my house. Y'all come over. My son's gonna grill steaks. We'll put some tents in the yard. That's where you're gonna have the expo. Like, you're not gonna go to that part of the world. Obviously, he's a sponsor of the BPT, but that's Johnny's house, man. When you get up there, I've traveled up there many times for work over the years, and that's Johnny Morrisville. So Red Crest is going there, but the rumor mill, and I've seen a couple videos floating around about this, but the rumor mill is that the Bassmaster Classic is going there. Not this year, obviously, coming up, 2026, going to Knoxville, but there's apparently a new boat ramp being put in or an old boat ramp being remodeled. I'm probably getting that wrong, to accommodate the Bassmaster Classic being there. I think that would be a very weird venue for the Classic to go from convention centers and things to having the expo at, obviously it would be at Bass Pro Shops. It would be at Bass Pro Shops, the mothership there in Springfield. I think that would be an odd thing. I love that area. Like I said, I've gone for years. I think it'd be a little weird. I think they pull it off, but I think that would be a little weird. Also, a rumor is he wanted to just have the Bassmaster Classic there every year forever. That's what I've been told. Not a shocker either that would be a request in Johnny Land up there. But that lake is very cool. That time of year you'll catch them. And, especially with the Classic, forward-facing sonar obviously be wide open, I feel like, and they'll blast them in that deal up there. But I don't know. Johnny making plays, as always. You're not going to outright a check when it comes to Johnny Morris when it's something he wants to do. The stories over the years, being in the marine industry, just crazy stories that you hear. So when he wants something, he goes and gets it. And don't be surprised if the Bassmaster Classic ends up in Springfield, Missouri in the next couple of years, just like Red Crest. And I think Red Crest could be like a litmus test to see, all right, how are we going to do this expo thing? And then the big boys are coming next. And that's not necessarily a shot at BPT, but their expos not well attended at Red Crest in comparison to the Classic. So I think this will be like a dry run, see how it goes, and then let's see if we can pull off this Bassmaster Classic. So I think that's pretty interesting news, man. I really do, because I see so many people in comments a lot of times, the Classic, same places. That's a different one. Springfield, Missouri, Branson, Missouri area, I would assume, would all kind of play a part in that, I would think, with Table Rock. And then the Bass Pro Shops, it'll certainly be centered around that Wonders of Wildlife Bass Pro Shops headquarters area there in Springfield. So very, very cool. All right, one thing before I jump in, we got a guest. I actually interviewed him a couple days ago that I had a good time. I do want to preface it with, He had terrible Wi-Fi, self-admitted. Talked to me about it. We did it through his cell phone signal, and he had spotty cell phone at a couple times during the interview. But I just asked that you kind of bear with it because great conversation. But before we jump into that, I want to say this without going into too many details because I think there are already too many details out there. But something was brought to my attention this week, and we've got in the fishing space. And look, I'm no better than anybody else, but I will say, been doing this for 8 years. I've been in this industry since I was a kid. Around it, it's a pretty tight knit group for the most part, and there are some outliers. Okay, there are, I'll say, a couple guys, and there may be more, but I was sent one this week that this just absolute. How do you describe him? Just a goon is the best way to describe him. Desperate, trying to make his pathetic existence better by attacking people nonstop on YouTube. And I'm not going to name names because he's like Beetlejuice. If you say his name a couple times, he'll like come rolling up. But there's a dear friend of mine going through some things right now in his family. Okay. In his family. And have nothing to do with bass fishing, has nothing to do with our world whatsoever. It's a big deal. It's a terrible deal. It's a very sad deal. There are children involved, lots of things, okay? And when you are scumbag enough to make a video trying to attach all these different things, and I didn't watch the video because I would never, ever lower my standards enough to watch any of the trash this human being throws into the ether. Okay. But trash in, trash out. Right. But I think when you are just that low of a human being, and he did it before. There was another event that happened earlier this year. Just jumped on, didn't jump. This fella can't jump, but just insert yourself in ways. And again, a few months ago, I said, look, man, if being opinionated and doing whatever it is I've done here for so many years brought these other clowns to the forefront with their clickbait titles and they're just really just overall negativity and just BS, man. They're not, they don't have the scoop on anything. They pretend to. And most of the time they, spend most of their days trying to call people on Instagram. They send harassing messages to people's sponsors. They spend time trying to call the organizations to get anglers in trouble for things because they have a lot of time on their hands. They just sit there all day long doing nothing but that. And I just think that maybe just don't make some of the videos you make. Maybe just don't do that. Okay. It's, again, if you're that pathetic, and I know that you are, right? And everybody else kind of understands that you are that pathetic. But man, there's just lines you don't cross. You don't go after people's families. You don't, this is bass fishing. Okay. It's bass fishing. It's tournament bass fishing. It's not that serious at the end of the day. And when you make it something it's not, you need to go away. You need to go away. You needed to go away a long time ago. There are two or three of y'all that needed to go away a long time ago. It's just grotesque at this point. But anyways, I want to get that off my chest. Doesn't matter. Morons are going to be morons forever. There is no change in that. But if you come across something from somebody that seems like that, just don't watch it. Just move along, man. And if you're a fan of something like that, then I'm just telling you right now, this ain't for you, and keep on moving. All right. Enough about goons. So this fella was on my podcast the year he qualified for the Bassmaster Elite Series. He won the Federation Nation Championship that qualified him for the Classic and the Elite Series, and then went on to qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series through the Opens that year. I remember the interview. I mean, it just jumps out. He was so confident, and he quit his job of 20 years to pursue it that year. He said, hey, I'm just going to go in. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lock in, and I'm going to make it. And he did. And since then, he's been to 4 Bassmaster Classics, has had a great run at it, has not had a win again until this year, and he just now wrapped up getting Blue Trophy, Bassmaster Elite Series trophy, number 2 for the year. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Schlapper. All right, as promised, here he is, the 2-time Elite Series champion from just this 2025 season, Pat Schlapper in the house. And Pat, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds really good. It still honestly hasn't set in yet. I've just been so busy, and I haven't had a lot of time to just kind of sit down and digest what happened the second half of the season, which is good. You know, there's a lot of wheels turning right now in a lot of different directions. So hopefully all of it's good. But yeah, it feels pretty cool to say that and hear that and look at those trophies, you know, when I walk by them. So it's pretty special.
No doubt, man. And you're a guy that I've pulled for since the first time I talked to you on the show. You had just won the nation tournament. You had just qualified through the Opens as well, if I remember correctly. And you were very proud of that fact. You were going to fish all the Opens that year and get there the right way, I believe was how you put it. And you double qualify. Of course, you made the Classic through that. But you were so confident in that interview. I've never forgotten that. And it wasn't cocky. It was a confidence. And to see your career now, just a few years later, to get not only your first win, but your second win almost right behind it, man, I'm not shocked at all. But I think you're quietly one of the best guys in the sport, one of the most consistent. I was looking at some numbers. Out of 59 events, 48 times in the money. And that ain't easy to do, buddy. It's not easy to do at all.
Yeah, it's not. And, you know, back to, you know, I remember what that first interview you did in 2020 when I won. And I tell people all the time, like, that was the best I've ever fished in my life that entire year, because I was so focused and, you know, working for 20 years straight and like getting the opportunity. I knew how much was on the line and I was so focused to do it. And I always said, like, if I could get back to that level of just it's hard to explain unless you do it, like where you just feel confident and good and like your mind's clear and your mechanics are solid. If I ever got back to that point, I always said I think I could compete and win some trophies, and I finally got to that point after Lake Fork this year was when which is weird because I had such a bad start to the year, but that tournament on Fork was kind of a turning point where for whatever reason, it clicked in with me like, dude, you can do it. You're there. Like, and I just calmed down and got refocused and then won 2 of the last 4 events. So I hope I can stay in that mindset for the, you know, I've got that big one on Gunnersville coming up and then, you know, roll into next season and just keep that momentum going because I like the way I'm feeling right now.
No doubt, man. I know you said whatever the case was, how you got in this zone, back to this zone that you were in a few years ago. Can you describe, I mean, what led to this, do you think? Was it like an internal monologue, like this inner monologue, a conversation with yourself? Was it just something you're like, you remembered something you did more? Because you threw away a job with Shields you had forever to chase this. Most people would be like, are you kidding me? But you're a dreamer like myself and like so many. You throw it away. I use that term because dude, you're living the dream. But you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are like, oh, you got this steady, amazing career with this great company to chase this dream. And then you got there, like you said, because when you're scared a lot of times, and this is speaking from experience, but when I like being uncomfortable. Right. And I think that I perform better no matter what it is when I am uncomfortable or when you're hungry, right? When you're fat and happy, things, you know, nothing's a challenge essentially. And what for you, how did you get back to Pat from that year?
I mean, I think it was a lot of things. It was like it's my 5th year. This is my 5th year on the Elite Series, which a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
And when you first get there, there's a lot. I don't care how good you are, how experienced you are. I was 38 my first year, so I was fairly seasoned in the tournament game and just the business side of it and just relationships. But no matter what, you get there and it's like you're starting over. It's like you're learning how to do all those things again. And I had some close calls over the last couple years, like really close calls. But I think this year, the beginning part, I think for all of us fishing the elites, it's like you got to make the classic. That's the thing. I got to make the classic. I got to make the classic. Well, you get behind the 8 ball. I mean, I was in 89th place 4 tournaments in, and like that, it's hard to overcome that. And so what changed for me, it was actually on Hartwell. I was so pissed off after that. I mean, I had the biggest meltdown I've ever had in my tournament life during that tournament. I mean, broke a rod over my knee, threw it in the bottom of the boat, was as close as I've ever been to loading the boat up and going home. It was horrible. Wow. And then after that point, I just was like, you know what? Screw it. I don't care about making the classic. I've made 4 of them. I've sucked in all of them, but I've made 4 of them. And it honestly, I don't think it holds as much prestige and as much weight for sponsors and partners anymore as it used to, unless you're like in the
which is unfortunate
2 or 3 year you'll win it.
Yeah, I agree.
It is, but I've just like, you know what? Screw it. I don't care about making the classic. And honestly, like, I'm not excited to go where we're going again. Just my opinion, because that'll be my 5th classic and the second time I've been there. And it's just a tough, it's not my favorite place to fish. Love the Tennessee River, but just not that stretch. But anyhow, I was just like, you're not excited to go where we're going. You're having a crappy year. Just don't worry about making the classic. Go out, try to really have fun and focus on trying to win tournaments. Don't be conservative and do things that you do when you're close to that cut line. You have to kind of be conservative to not bomb like I had been doing. And so that's what I started doing. I'm just like, I'm going out, I'm having fun. I am going to take risks and try to win tournaments. And if I suck, then what am I going to fall to 100th? Like, what's another 11 spots? Who cares? You know what I mean? I'm not going to get cut from the elites because I've done well.
Right.
And that's when it changed. I just went out. I practiced super hard. I looked at the water a little different and just, took chances. That Sabine River, I took a lot of chances to get that win. And the lacrosse one too. Like, I took a lot of gambles with the locks and fishing the way I was fishing, not getting a lot of bites. Trust in my local knowledge of what happens when the water comes up, when it goes down, when you get a cold front.
The seasons are starting to change a little bit, starting to be a little cool at night, and you better be ready for the fall and winter fishing season or hunting season. And you can do that by going to gillfishing.com. Make sure your rain suit is up to par for those cooler days, nasty days on the water. We're going to have a lot of fronts coming up. You want to be prepared. Get you some layering gear. Get you some hoodies. Get you some boots. Gillfishing.com. You can use code LBL20. That's right, 20% off at gillfishing.com on some of the best outdoor gear in the game. Tell them we sent you. Gillfishing.com, LBL20. Pro Guide Batteries. ProGuideBatteries.com is where you can find everything that they make. And why trust your battery game to someone that is a fly-by-night company? There are battery companies that pop up, I feel like, every week. The folks from Pro Guide have been in this battery business for over 40 years. They make some of the finest lead acid, AGM, and lithiums in the game, and now they have a new charger line. That's what I'm running in the Express this year. I've got a little bit of mix of lithium, AGM, and a Pro Guide 5-bank charger. Check them out, ProGuideBatteries.com. LBL10 will save you money just for being a lowlifer. Baitworks.com, bait-wrx.com, the exclusive online home for this little bad boy right here. The LOB Power Finesse Jig, finer than frog hair skirt material, custom trocar hook. It is jig season officially. This dude right here, this time of year, absolutely puts in the work. Dunkin-10, DUNKIN-10, saves you money on that and everything else on the Baitworks site, baitworks.com. And last but not least, what's up, old boy? Old Boy Brands, Old Boy Outfitters out of Knoxville, Tennessee. They make some of the coolest lifestyle gear in the game, from their game day collections to their hunting and fishing tees, long sleeve hooded sun shirts, shorts. They got a little bit of everything. Hoodies. It's growing by the day. Oldboyoutfitters.com is where you can find it, and you can use code OldBoyLuke, Old Boy, O-L-E, boy, Luke, at checkout to save some money.
You know, I knew I was going to make adjustments that most of the other guys did not know how to make. And that's fishing at that level where you trust yourself and you trust your instincts, and you can't make yourself do it. You have to get into that zone. And for me, it took having a crappy year to get into that headspace of like, this is what you need to do to win tournaments. And I won, you know, 2 of the last 4 or whatever it was, because I was in that headspace.
Unreal. And I think lacrosse, the Sabine win, you know, social media always, when the good guys win, and yes, that's a shot at the people that aren't good guys, but Pat, you're one of the good guys. And I feel like people pull for you for sure. I know, like I said, I'm one of those, and everybody was super excited that you got that win. And at lacrosse, you know, you're obviously, you know, the body of water well, and you were just kind of hanging around. Everybody was talking about Caleb, and you're just kind of hanging around. And I thought, I guess it was day 3. I'm like, they better watch Pat. Like, I'm just kind of keeping it, because Caleb and all, they're like, basically giving it to him essentially. And he was having a hell of a tournament. Right. But I'm like, you're just creeping up there. And then on that, I guess about halfway through that final day of the bass track, I'm like, he's fixing to win freaking 2, man. And then it worked out.
Yeah.
Did you think going into that final day you had a shot?
I knew I had a shot. I mean, I knew and I know, like, I'm buddies with Caleb. Like, I know how he fishes down there.
Yeah.
I know how he fishes down there. Like, he tells, like, I knew exactly what he was doing. I didn't know exactly where he was doing it.
Right.
But he told me, like, day 3, he's like, dude, it was a struggle. Like, it took me a long time to get a limit. The size was way down. The wind is killing what I'm doing. So I mean, obviously I always worried about him because he's so good down there and he knows how to adjust. But I was honestly more worried about Schmidt because of the way I thought he was fishing. Obviously I didn't know how he was fishing, and like, I've watched since then, and he was fishing different than he usually does. And so, like, but the way he typically does, I'm like, he's probably, and I talked to him a little on the way, set up pretty good for what he's typically does down there, other than it was a hard north wind, so I messed a bit. But when I got up and walked out, it was cold. Like, it was, you're wearing a rain jacket, it's not summer anymore. I knew, and it was 30-mile-an-hour north wind. I knew what I was going to do to catch them, and I knew I was going to get 5 to 7 big bites. And as long as I got them in the boat, I would have 17 to 20 pounds. And I'm just like, these guys aren't going to know what to do. And the way some of them are fishing, they're not going to be able to do what I'm doing. So I said it on the dock that morning, like, I'm not cocky at all, but I said, like, when they were interviewing me, I'm like, if these guys knew what I was around, they would be scared. And I wanted to get in their head a little bit. And I don't say stuff like, I don't say stuff like that, but I could just feel it. I'm like, this is about to go down. And as long as I execute and I can get through the locks clean, this is like, I'm going to catch them. And that's part of being in that headspace and being confident, but just knowing what I know and all the years down there, I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to dick around trying to throw a frog in 40-mile-an-hour winds like a lot of these guys are going to do. Like, that ain't going to cut it. And so it worked out perfectly. And I kind of liked the fact that I was lurking in the shadows, and, like, you know, I had a camera the first day, but then they didn't give me one the second day. And, like, bass, there was some gap. There's a lot of gaps in the story that didn't really get told. I'm not sure if it will after all the stuff comes out, but, like, it was a very calculated plan that I had, and it worked out. I mean, it worked out great. It worked out great.
Yeah.
Obviously, it worked out great.
No doubt. And you, I think Andrew Loberg owes you a steak dinner because you double qualified with the win and your points you got in the classic cut. And I think that moved Mr. California by way of Gunnersville into the classic cut, I believe, right? I think
No,
he's
it was actually Loberg. Loberg was in. He got
okay.
41st. I got Dakota Eber in.
Oh, Dakota
So
owes you.
yeah,
Okay.
he and I know how he rolls. So it's going to be the thickest, biggest ribeye I can find. So I ain't heard from him yet, but I'm sure I'll run into him at some point.
Yeah, Dakota Ebear, we're calling you out. Get your I love Dakota. Dakota's mom is one of my favorite characters on social media. Miss Mary is awesome. Miss Mary, if Dakota forgets to take care of Pat, cook Pat a steak at some point, please.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Pat a steak. Dude, there's something that I want to talk to you about that to me is maybe the coolest story from pro fishing this year, in my opinion, other than your 2 wins. Not trying to take anything from that, but when you won the Sabine River, there was something that happened that I saw and kept up with on social media. But you were throwing a buzz bait and you looked at the camera and said, I'm not sponsored by this company, but maybe after I win on this, I will be, or something to that effect, right? And then and they posted Brazalo Lures, give them a shout out. But then I think now you guys have a relationship together. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's been so cool. Though
That's
Danny
awesome.
and Timmy over there, like I didn't know who they were. I had
Yeah.
seen someone throwing it on a tournament years ago, and I'm like, and I've always struggled to find a buzz bait that I really like and that I don't have to mess around with a lot to get it
Mhm.
run right and it holds up and a good hook and the right sound. And I bought a bunch of them. He said he looked up the order he found it from years ago. And like I had them, and I don't throw a buzz bait a ton, but
Yeah.
like that week, I mean, it was like magic. And I'm a super honest person, and like they put me on the spot. Like the camera guy, Carl, who's awesome. He's awesome. He like waited till I had it in my hand, and then he asked me, and I just kind of looked at the camera like shit. Well, which I
Here
don't
we
really have a wire bait sponsor
go.
anyways, and
Yeah.
I know it's a smaller company, and like that's a side. Well, we can get into that side of the business too. But anyhow, like I just said that, like, dude, it's a Brazalo custom, the best buzzbait I found. I like it. Like it, I mean, and then said like, hey, I'm not sponsored by them, but maybe I will be after this.
Yeah.
And that spawned into, I mean, a smaller company, but a smaller company that has their crap together. I mean, the way
Yeah.
they reacted, like he told me they sold like over 5,000 buzz baits in a week, which is
Wow.
what they sell in a year. And he said, and it keeps going, keeps going. And
That's
like
awesome.
they reached out right away. You know, a lot of them bigger companies, they'll just post all your content and you can't even get a free bait from them,
Yeah.
but they expect you to do all this stuff if you use their bait, or they use all that stuff. But this guy, Timmy and Danny, they called me and they're like, dude, that's awesome. We so appreciative. They started paying me right away, which I didn't expect. I'm like, I don't know, and sent me a bunch of baits, and they post all kinds of cool content. It's all made in the US, and they're good guys. They're
Yeah.
good guys. I'm so happy it worked out for them and for me. And I've got my own signature series buzzbait now, my own, like with my name on it.
Cool.
I never thought that'd happen. And like, you can only get it at Shields. Like there's all kinds of cool
That's
stuff that spun
cool.
off from
Yeah.
that. So yeah, that's how it should work. You know what I mean? And that's just not how it works a lot,
Dude. And
in my
I love,
experience.
well, and I love that you said that. And that's why I said it's one of the coolest stories of the year. Cause I've been on all sides of the business, for years. And that is how it should work. That you're dead on. That is how it used to work. I feel like if you had a guy and he's catching them on a bait on Bassmaster on the TV show before live, even, I feel like the next year you'd see that guy with that logo on his jersey if he didn't have it before. And the world has changed. We don't see that as much. And so shout out to those guys. They make great stuff. I've thrown a lot of their stuff over the years, but I love that moment this year. It just sticks out to me. I mean, your 2 wins are awesome, but relationships in this industry, as you well know, are so important. And I think being able to, and
Yeah,
mutually beneficial, right?
100%.
You said they sold more buzz baits that week than they did, the year prior. That's awesome, man. You love to hear those kind of stories. Family-owned businesses like that doing well, and now it sounds like you got them hooked up with old Shields there too.
Yeah, it's been cool. Like, we got my bait and we've got other stuff in the stores and it's doing really well. And it's just so cool. And also, some of the smaller companies, like, I used to work with another smaller company on some jigs I made and that, went the way of the dodo bird, but they couldn't have handled what happened. A lot of the smaller companies, smaller businesses, they couldn't handle, I think it was 1,700 orders they got in like a week and a half.
That's so crazy.
So they can't handle that. And to see how Brazzalo managed the website, where they would put out of stock, we'll inform you when it's in, like they kept everybody informed. They didn't just let people just keep ordering stuff and pile, like they managed it. And it was so cool coming from, the tackle business. Like you don't see that very often, where they keep people informed and manage the business properly. And I'd say they're on the bigger side of the small business, but they still haven't seen anything like that. And they just, I think they got a lot of customers from it, a lot of fans from it. And it's worked out great for both of us. And I talk to them pretty regular. So it's really cool. It's a cool relationship that I'm happy to have built.
Yeah, man. Well, and earned, right? Not just built, you earned it with that win and giving them the press there on Bassmaster Live. Like you said, you're an honest guy. A lot of people would have just said, yeah, I'm throwing a buzzbait, because I think there was a big guy on BPT a couple weeks ago that was throwing it. I can't remember who it was that just said, yeah, I'm throwing this bait. And I'm like, oh, I know that buzzer. That's the one Pat was throwing, but he never mentioned, of course. Maybe it was Edwin. I think it was Edwin Evers. I'm pretty sure. I think it was Edwin.
Yeah, it was. And that's part of the industry. If you're sponsored or you have a partnership with somebody and you're throwing something different than them, then you can't say what it is. You have to be like, yeah, I'm throwing a buzz bait. A lot of people will just lie and say that they were throwing, what their company makes, and then they weren't. And I obviously throw stuff that I'm not. I don't have a lot of partnerships in the actual. I've got Big Bite and Sunline, but like, if I can't say, I don't say. You try not to cross that line. It's just the weird part of the business that you can't lie. You can't say, like the last week when I was throwing a Big Bite jerk shad. The second day mostly. Well, the first day I was throwing a different one too. So I just tell people, like, yeah, I was throwing a different one the first day, and that was just pure convenience because they were biting so good. I had some other ones laying there, and I was just, it was every cast. So I tell people that, like, yeah, you're going to see a clip of me using a different one, but this is the one I primarily used. Yeah. Most people don't do that, and then they get caught in the lie, and then all of a sudden you're the bad guy. I'm already the bad guy, according to a lot of people, online, of course. So,
are you?
I'm the bad guy. I'm a scoper loser. And I had one guy that just got me, like, the Bass Blaster puts up the pictures of the baits, and I had like my stuff tied on, and like I tie a certain knot for braid, and like I had just beat the dog shit out of them, so they were beat up, whatever. And the guy was just roasting me because my tag ends were too short on my braid. And I'm just like, God dang, you're an idiot. Like, you have no idea. Like, whatever. Like, I've never pulled a knot through. Like, the knot that I tie, it's impossible to pull through. And the guy, that probably caught a bluegill once that tell me I don't know how to tie a knot. There's just so much that, how that is.
Oh, dude.
So
my favorite is your comeback should just always be, if you even entertain them at all, Pat, is, I'm sorry, I can't hear you because these two blue trophies are so loud. Can you talk louder?
Yeah.
It's like,
I know, but I think a lot of them people just don't even know what I'm doing. They just see this thing pop up and they're like, look at this freaking idiot, and blah blah. I caught a bass one time in my pond, and look at me, look at this, mom, look at this picture, mom, bring me my breakfast, mom. Like, I just ate it
right here. I like that. They pull it right close to their face like this.
Yeah.
Put it on the camera. That's their profile picture.
Yeah.
They're like, Pat
Yeah.
Schlapper doesn't know shit. He doesn't know
Yeah.
anything about
Uh-huh.
fishing. They're like,
Yep.
what? This is literally an article where he won $100,000 on this river and beat some of the best fishermen in the world. And he's done it twice this year. And he's made you're going to your fifth classic, correct? Coming up is number 5.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Man, comments, and I talk about it on here probably too much, but comments just they infuriate me under Bassmaster, MPFL, MLF's posts, and they make me laugh. It's such a guilty pleasure. Like I find myself scrolling, sitting on the toilet, bored, and you're like, why are these people this way? Why are these people this way?
Yeah, it's hard to, like I take some of them personal where they start, I got called the biggest piece of shit on tour because I was blasting that guy who literally plowed through the mats I was fishing.
Yeah.
And then I'm the bad guy because I'm trying to control, I'm just trying to wave him away. Like, just go on go through the normal human path around it. And then they got the trolling motor down and they're out there just blowing it all over. And then I'm the bad guy because I don't own the water and all of this stuff. It's like, if we'd have been out in the open water, fine. But it's a 1.5 feet. Like, obviously they knew that's where I was fishing because they show right where we're at on live. And it's like, that's what I'm doing. You're watching on your flip phone or whatever you got. And just stay on the outside. And then KJ was over there too, was the worst part. It's like, so now he's messing with both me and KJ.
Yeah.
And and then it makes me the bad guy, like that I'm trying to control traffic, which we all do in tournaments. It's just like,
you have to.
And then it's like, I get it's public water, but the only reason you're there is because you saw right where I'm at and you want to put the dot down for the next Tuesday nighter. Mm-hmm. So that's what pisses me off. And then I'm the bad guy because it showed us because literally gets away from winning this tournament. And I just let those mat wrap off. Now you just throw. So that one hurt. That one didn't hurt me because, whatever. It's a turd who is, like I said, in the basement watching coverage, playing Tendo. That doesn't bother me, but it's just like, don't call me the biggest piece of shit on tour. Give them the whole story.
Dude, it's amazing. I feel like how little and look, Bassmaster, they use those clips, right? They throw them on social media, or it's on live or what have you. And we do the same at MPFL. MLF does it, but it's amazing what gets the biggest reaction from people. And it's a knee-jerk reaction. That's the problem anymore, is people sit there with their guns cocked, ready to go the second they get on social media. They're not trying to say, oh my gosh, look, this guy just won 2 of these. This is amazing. Look at this cool story. Look at this. He's catching and flipping mats. Oh my God, that's awesome. Instead, they just go for the most negative thing that enters their pea brains most of the time and just start sending it. It's incredible, man. We live in a weird time when it comes to all that. That is for sure. But I did not know you were the most hated guy on the internet, Pat. I missed all that somehow, and I don't know how.
According to that guy was holding the redfish, who probably doesn't bass fish, I don't know. I mean, I was like, what the hell is this? And it's most of them are turds, or they're just, Randy fans and, oh, he's just another scoper. It's like, dude, I never turned it on. I was fishing a foot of water. I caught them all on a frog or a punch rig or a fluke. What are you talking about? Just don't be dumb. I would love to just run into these people face to face, which I have
you will
times,
and they'll ask you for a picture.
Yeah, and just oh, I'm your biggest fan, and then it was so awesome. It is what it is. Most of the time, like you said, you just kind of laugh and shake your head, but some of the times you just want to deal with it a different way.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just astounding that somebody could type what they type. I'm just like, holy crap. That's what'll get me sometimes. I'm just like, not even that it hurts you. It's like, you're out there walking around amongst the rest of us with this thought process. That's not good. Mm-hmm. That's terrifying that you're this way about bass fishing. It's not politics. We're not talking about something super controversial. It's bass fishing. We jam steel through the faces and rip them out of grass mats and brush piles and ride them around and weigh them in at the end of the day. Some people use live bait and catch them and cut the sides out of them. It's a fish. It's going to all be okay.
Yep.
At some point. It's still fishing. I think a lot of the ones that comment, I think a lot of people that comment truly aren't even bass fishermen. I think it just pops up on their algorithm for whatever reason. And they thought, oh, look at these, because you see a lot. They're like, look at these bass guys, all these electronics. I don't even think they're part of our world. I really don't. I think it gets outside of the algorithm sometimes. And that's where you get a lot of. Now there are plenty of, like you said, the Randy fans. Just the fans of this show refer to themselves as low lifers. Does Randy have any? I wonder if he has a nickname for his Randy followers. I don't know what that would be. I don't know what
I don't know.
But I like all of it, dude. I like punching mats, and I also like shaking them in us. So it's fine. We can all get along. I think nothing has made it more clear this year, though, than with MPFL banning it and the amount of negativity we still see. It's just out there, man. Like we go to the St. Lawrence River and they're like, oh, of course they're bed. They were mad at floggers. I've never seen hundreds of comments about a traffic cone. I'm like, you people need something to do. If this pisses you off, insane, man. Because, catching smallmouth on the bed is not cool anymore. But if tournaments stop doing it, I bet nobody ever does it again. What do you think, Pat?
Anything that is showcased is bad for the sport and killing all the fish, and conservation is the big thing. And it's like, probably shouldn't even go down that route, because
me either.
You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. You can't, there's people that are going to hate and bitch regardless. And a lot of things trigger different people, and you just got to live with it. And unfortunately, that's the social media is good for the sport, but it's also really bad for the sport, because it gives those turds a voice to interrupt any post you have and start controversy. And you can't argue with them, because most of them just don't have fully functional brains. So you can't argue. You can't even say, dude, I was flipping mats. They don't know what that means.
No, that's right.
Because you know what I mean? You can't, their brains just aren't fully developed, apparently. So you can't even have a logical discussion with them. Same with Randy. Like, Randy's brain, I don't think it ever developed fully, because you can't talk any sense to him, because he's just so focused on making money with his posts with all his clone followers that's all he cares about. He'll say anything to get a reaction and get views. So you can't argue with people like that. You can't have a logical conversation. It's impossible.
I was going to say, and I've said it on here before, but Randy's takes on everything are strictly generated by the fact that he's paying his mortgage now, because there are people that think that and I think initially, to be fair, and I don't know Randy well, I've been around him a few times when we fished FLW and things. Randy's a nice guy, always been nice. But I think that what he does now is, like you said, he chases clickbait stuff, stirs it up because he gets views, he gets paid, and that it is what it is. That's the world we live in. But I don't think that he actually believes half the crap that comes out of his mouth. I don't believe it.
There's no way he can. How can you believe what you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't think that he believes it.
Yeah.
But hey, he's got to fight, and he's fighting it. Good for him, I say. I just get tired of the hatred towards, so many people, because it's drummed up a lot of actual hate toward, especially dude, the young guys just get it full throttle. It doesn't matter if you're the greatest fisherman ever at 19. They don't care, man. The world doesn't care. Oh, you're nothing without a screen. And it's like, okay, they're great at scoping, but maybe they're great at other stuff too. Like, we see that from a kid like McKinney, for example. He's great with live scope, obviously, but I've known of that kid since he was very young. And I know the gentleman that taught him how to bass fish, and Trey can also go flip and skip docks and he's a shallow water guy at his core too. So
yeah, he's proved it. He's proven it this year. I mean, he's his first year. He obviously did some stuff wrong, but dude, he was 19. He got thrown into it.
Yeah.
If I got held accountable for everything I did when I was 19, I probably, wouldn't have any sort of job. So
Yes.
you got to give him a little slack for that, or slack for that. And this year he's grown a lot. I mean, he's with St. Croix Rods, and I just spent some
Yeah.
time with him. He's a good dude. He
He's
just
sharp.
got,
Yeah.
thrown into the spotlight, and he made some mistakes, and he's owned up to them. And now you haven't really heard any controversy following him this year because he's just fished,
Yeah.
did what he's supposed to do. And yeah, you're going to have the scope haters, but I mean, he's going to whoop you flipping a jig or doing anything, like you said, fishing a lot of other ways. And he's proving it, but he's under the age of 30. So he's going to be under the microscope no matter what.
No doubt about that, buddy. Let's talk about Shields. So I know they're still your title sponsor. For me, that's yet another cool story in your history, working there for so long, being on the backside of it. And like you said, you understand the business of fishing because it is indeed a business. The tournament stuff's only half the battle. But is that partnership still just working smooth as ever? They got to be proud of you, man.
Yeah, they are. It's funny because the president of the company, the top guy in Shields, the whole deal, he was the guy who hired me. So and there's so many people that I worked under that now have their own, they run their own stores. One of my best friends, like a whole bunch of people that I worked with are really high up in the company. So yeah, that's a very strong relationship, keeps getting stronger. I obviously keep working to build it, make it stronger, do whatever I can for them. I've got some real cool stuff happening with them right now. So yeah, I'm super fortunate because that was one of my biggest fears when I was telling them I was going to quit, was that they were just going to be like, scoot me out of the way, but they're not like that. I put 20 years plus of my life into that company, and they've built me into who I am and taught me a lot about, the business side of it and just being a good person. And their core values as a business and what they instill into their employees are what made me who I am. Integrity is number one, doing the right thing. And that's why they stuck with me, because they knew how I was. And I mean, they let me keep my retirement in there until last year, which I mean, I can't even describe how huge that was for my wife and I to have that in my back pocket. They didn't just make me take it. They let me keep it in there and grow it, which people don't understand that side of Shields, how profitable it is if you're a good employee.
Yeah.
So it's huge for me to have that relationship and that partnership, not only just on the sponsorship side, but on the life side. I mean, just it's so awesome and unique, and I'm really proud to represent them.
Man, that's again, it's like the Brazzalo deal. That's how it should go. That is very, very cool to hear. And this is just a shameless plug for Shields. I'm a Southern boy, and I have no affiliation with that company whatsoever, other than they've taken a lot of my money. When I used to have to travel to Wisconsin for the MPFL events up there, there was one in Appleton, about a mile from the hotel that Fat Cat and I would stay at. And I will say right here, looking at this camera, it is in my opinion, that doesn't matter, but it is the nicest retail experience in the country, period. End of story. I've told, I don't know how many people that Shields if guys from Shields, if you're watching this, come to Nashville, Tennessee, please, or Huntsville, Alabama, somewhere close to my house. I need a Shields close to me because I don't travel to Wisconsin anymore. And that was the only time I ever got to go to one. And freaking awesome. I know they got one in Dallas, I think, down south.
Yep. They got one in Dallas. They got one in Tulsa. They're building another one in Oklahoma. They're actually building several this year. I think they're putting another one in Wisconsin, because there's only 2 in Wisconsin right now.
Okay.
So I know they're adding they're pushing south. They're just really calculated with their markets and getting, the right setup. So they're pushing south more. We're primarily Midwest and West, but yeah, the one in Dallas, if you ever I'm fortunate to have been to a lot of the Shield stores. If you ever get close to Dallas Fort Worth, you are doing yourself a disservice if you don't go to that store. Not just for fishing. I'm talking for anything. and they got a big saltwater aquarium. They've got a Ferris wheel. They've got, I mean, it's unbelievable, that store. Like anytime I'm close to it, I go there, and it's such a cool store. If you're in that area, you have to go there because you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, it for me, it's not even just the fishing stuff though. Like you said, like their hunting section's insane. Even I'm not even a golfer, and their golf section is like I took my boys with me a couple summers ago up there. We went and fished a couple days before I was in studio and up at Sturgeon Bay, and then I ended up taking them to Shield. And they were just losing their minds in there, man. They still talk about Shields, So since you know the president, Tennessee, come on, Pat, help me out. I need one.
I'll try to pull some strings.
But yeah, pull some strings. Tell them you know a guy that'll be their number one customer, because they are. I'm a fan. I'm a Shields fan. Well, man, do you still do anything? I know you were Bass Nation, loud and proud. Do you still go and speak to groups with anything like that? Because I mean, I feel like you are the story for them, right? Like I feel like when they're sitting at a club, first club tournament of the year, and they're talking about the layers to get to the Bassmaster Classic potentially and things, I feel like your story has to be brought up all the time. Like, look, you've got to be one of their shining stars from the nation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still affiliated with the club that kind of got me on that route, and I have a couple of my best friends that qualified for the national championship this year, which is in La Crosse. And so I'm still pretty close to it, but it's changed so much from when I was there.
Yeah.
I don't really I don't go and talk or anything, I would, but like, it's just, it used to be, I mean, it's still prestigious and everything, but it used to be basically 50 guys. Well, now it's like 250. So it's a different deal at that national championship. Still awesome. Still, I mean, harder to win now, easier to get there, but harder to win.
For sure.
So it is a big part of my story. And I do feel like, I represent what that path means, kind of my whole story. So, and I do talk a lot. Like I don't know if they're going to feature me on some stuff with Bassmaster about it. Like I've done a lot of interviews about the nation. So, it's pretty cool. And I'm, proud to say that I went that route, and that guys can look at my path that, like I said, aren't 20 years old, that they're in their 30s, and they're like, well, crap, he did it. Maybe I can do it. And I'm hoping, one of my, like I said, a couple of my best friends are fishing that championship, and I'm really, really hoping one of them closes it out and gets to do what I'm doing. So, I think I bring a little bit of hope to some of them little older guys.
Would be amazing to see that. All right. So 5th season on the elites, you go through the gauntlet, you leave everything behind, your corporate job. I use that loosely because they're great people at Shield, sounds like. But 5 years in, I want to know what's your favorite thing, other than your 2 wins, your favorite thing about the elites, and what is something that surprised you about the elites? Your favorite thing that's happened other than the 2 wins.
My favorite thing is just the friends I've made. I mean, like I had Patrick Walters, Justin Hamner, Drew Cook. They came to my house before this La Crosse event. Walters brought big, thick ribeyes, cooked them. And so I got a Bassmaster Classic champion, multiple Elite Series champions in my garage. Now they did sneak into my tackle and find some stuff I didn't want them to find, but to have those guys that I can call friends, Justin Atkins, I mean, one of my best friends now, and Bob Downey, and just all, I get to talk with Jason Christie. Knows who I am. He talks to me, like he knows who I am, not just sees me and like, oh, there's another turd. Like he talks to me. Like to have those people that I've looked up to for so long that I can call, I mean, maybe I can't call Jason Christie a friend. Maybe we're acquaintances at this point. We haven't got to that level yet, but to have those people, like I'm in the mix with, I beat them sometimes. Like that's right. The coolest part to me, to have that, to just be friends with a lot of these guys. And honestly, I feel like I have respect from a lot of them.
For
So
sure.
that's probably the coolest thing. And then the thing that surprised me the most, that's kind of a tougher one. I guess nowadays what surprises me is how ungrateful some of the people are that are doing it, and how maybe they take it for granted. And I think that a lot of those people, and some of them I think maybe haven't lived another life besides that to understand how
Yeah.
fortunate we are to get to do it. And I think that's what surprised me the most, to come into this. And like, a lot of times I feel like I'm in like a fifth grade classroom, the way some of them bitch and complain. And I just, some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. And some of it I understand, but it's like, guys, I mean, Bass might do some stuff we don't agree with, but they want us to do good. They need us to succeed. I mean, we need to work together instead of fighting each other. And not everybody's going to be happy with every decision that gets made, but we don't need to fight and argue and point fingers at everybody, where a lot of times they need to be pointing fingers at themselves. And that once again is what I've learned, just the way I was raised and working for Shields. A lot of times when you're looking for an excuse or somewhere to point the finger, it's as simple as looking in the mirror. So that's what surprised me the most, is just the animosity and negativity and just ungratefulness with some of the people. And I'm not like that. I'm so lucky to get to do this and being able to just be somewhat successful doing it. I don't want to go back to a normal job. I had a great job, but I don't want to go back to doing that. I want to go try to catch fish, travel the country, work with, partners that I love, and make a living, and hopefully, be successful enough that when I'm 50 years old, I can hang her up and just do whatever I want. So we're fortunate to get to do this. And I think a lot of, I shouldn't even say a lot. There's just some guys that I don't think fully grasp how lucky we are to get to do it. So that surprises me.
Yeah, man, I think, and listen, I can look at this camera and bitch with the best of them about all kinds of stuff in life, but I think all of us at the end of the day should be grateful for what we've got, no matter what you're into in life. But when you pursue this dream, that's a dream to so many that they'll never get to realize, being a professional bass fisherman. And there's a lot of days that dream can, I've been fortunate to do it as well. It can be like a nightmare. You've had a successful career, but it can be a nightmare. But I do think we've lost sight at times, whether it's the forward facing debate that's just made things so toxic, or whatever the case is. We are at a kind of a fevered pitch, I feel like. And I think we need to just, everybody just kind of figure out which direction they want to go. What I mean by that is, if I don't like something, like it was a prime example, and this is not me blowing my horn at all, but in 2019, I made the decision that I was never going to fish FLW again once I heard MLF bought them, because I fundamentally was like, this is not going to be good. And now, several years later, what they did to the FLW tour, you know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of strip it down and whatever. And like, I'm not no ill will towards those folks, but I'm just saying, like, that was my opinion. So I stepped away. My thing is, instead of being so vocal at times, like, if you don't, just go somewhere else. At the end of the day, there are lots of options, right? Instead of just, but what gets me is people will do that, but then when the schedule comes out the next year and the roster, they're still going to be on it. You know what I mean? Like, they're not. And I know maybe other options aren't as lucrative or fruitful as Bassmaster, and like you said, that classic carrot. But I don't know. I just wish everybody would just kind of settle down, settle into where they want to fish the way you want to fish, man. And let's, I think, with what, and I'm not sure what Bass is going to do. I've heard on the FFS thing that maybe not going to do a lot. MPFL banned it, and then MLF, BPT, they've got their deal. So you've got choices. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, depending on, and I know that's not all the griping is not always centered around forward facing, but you know what I mean?
It's a lot of it for sure. I mean, that's the bulk of it right now, is like, and it's like, the payout was a big blowout, and the polygraphs are a huge thing now, which I just want to say, guys, I sat in that room and listened to you guys bitch about the payouts and not enough polygraphs, and now they change it, and now you hate that too. Like what? How? What? I mean,
They're
what
too
are you they
hard
supposed?
now. Yeah.
What are they supposed to do? Like, you think
Yeah.
we don't pay an entry fee and magically $4.5 million that we pump into it is just going to appear?
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it works. Like, you obviously don't. Have you ever worked for a business, had a business that's successful? You don't just like, well, 4.5 million. Yeah, we'll take it out of, yeah, we'll throw that in there. No, that's just, I'm sitting there just shaking my head like, guys, you don't know what's about to happen. Look at, if I remember right, there was an organization that tried the no entry fee thing.
Yeah, they
And
did.
how long did that last? It lasted about 2 years before the wheels fell off and everybody was scrambling to come back to bass.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that was a juicy carrot like this for a
Yep.
bunch of guys to leave, and then all of a sudden 2 years in, it's like, hang on a second, what happened to that free no entry fee thing? Oh, it's
Yeah.
not feasible. It's not feasible.
Yeah, which I understand. That's what people are like. I don't know why these guys left. Like, well, if you cut $45,000 of your expense, and at the time, Major League Fishing was the hottest thing out there. I loved watching it when it first came out. I was like, this is awesome. It's a little different. And then they did that, and like, I completely understand why those guys went. And from what I understand, talking to some of the people that were there, like, there was way more animosity at Bass at that time. So all they needed was a little bit, 45 grand, and I'm still fishing. I'm saving 45 grand, but I'm still fishing for 100 grand. Like, I'm going to go do that. 100% understand that.
Yeah. And the overall,
that doesn't work.
well, like you said,
I don't know. That's just part of it.
No, that's been a major conversation this year, and I can remember back in the FLW days sitting on an angler panel, and payouts are always the hot button topic. But what nobody realizes is the money doesn't just appear, and these are businesses. Unfortunately, they're not charities, and they are businesses with employees, and they have overhead and things like that, and we will see moving forward. But I don't know, man. I think that I still think the sport's in a really good spot, despite what the naysayers are trying to get across, that it's dying and that it's over with. My sons and I'm captaining my boys. My youngest is a freshman. My oldest is a senior. They came to me. They want to fish high school tournaments, Pat. I've never, we're getting into that as of next Saturday. This is the first time. And the first open, and it's TBN here, the nation and Tennessee host these. And the first one's on Kentucky Lake. And I mean, they're estimating they may have 250 boats in this thing, man. And that is, man, all the negativity. I see a sport that's got potential to still be around 30 years from now for my kids, as long as we've got this youth movement. I know it can be frustrating to some people. There's a lot more boats on the water, it seems, at times, and things like that. Our fisheries get hammered. The fishermen are better than ever before because they're getting an earlier start. By the time they get to competing with you, they're damn sure they're ready. A lot of times we're used to, they might not be, but man, I think we're in a pretty good spot. The Alabama Bass Trail that I work for, they sold out in under 3 minutes this year, both divisions for next year. I mean, people are wanting to go bass fishing. It's just that top level that is a hot button topic at times. And I think that, and I think you would say we're going to be okay.
Yeah. And I think so too. And I think with the three different major organizations now, like you said earlier, people have options.
Got choices.
If you don't like what's going on at Bass or wherever, then go fish the NPFL or go try to get on the Bass Pro Tour or go, now I see that they kind of reformatted the whatever they were calling it. Yep. So now you're fishing for good money there again. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of options. If you don't like what's going on, then fricking go somewhere else. There's someone waiting to take your spot. Like,
that's the thing, too.
I think we're in a great spot. I think it's good. I mean, and people, viewership's down. No, it's not. Viewership's down. Like, you're watching it, and you're watching it to bitch about it, but you're watching it. Like,
still watching, man.
Yeah, it's. I just think that it's. I think we're in a good spot, and there, some stuff's changing, and I think it'll kind of even out, settle out, and we'll be great. I mean, there's so many people that are involved in, like you said, the youth movement, college, high school, even below that. Like there's a lot of kids that want to do this. So we're not going to have a shortage of anglers to do it. And because of that, you're not going to have a shortage of an audience. So
That's right.
we'll just ride it out and see what happens, I guess.
I think I think that what's going to keep happening for you, sir, more wins in the future, and maybe even though you talk bad about her, maybe the Tennessee River in Knoxville treats you right, and you hoist that big trophy this year, like that guy right there behind me did, Gussie.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And
I mean, I had a good, like the first time we went there, I had a really good event. But you know, classics and me just haven't gotten along. I've never made a day 3 cut in like, I don't know. I just can't get it together, but you're right. Maybe going in with just really super low expectations,
yeah,
maybe I can figure it out and catch some this year. You know, now I'm good buddies. Like Atkins is, I'll stay with him and Bob, I'm sure. And so we'll
yeah,
probably work a little bit together and, you know, a little bit, but like that'll help. But, I still enjoy the week, even though I suck at them. It's awesome to do it. And like, and you never know. You never know where you could find the deal and win it. I mean, that's especially that one where it's a low weight, not a lot of fish caught. Like, you know, I might find the little magic spot and catch them.
you never know, dude. It can be your week. I always say the one thing about the classic that gets me is with the practice the way it is, and then all the media days in between, I feel like when takeoff happens on the first morning, the guy that eventually wins has no clue he's going to win. In the
Yeah.
spring, you know, things change every day. I always feel like that. Yeah, you might have found something magical 7 days ago, but still things change by the minute, and especially on a river system with Knoxville. You know, I know a lot of fans gripe about it, you know, and obviously we'd much rather it be on Gunnersville, I think, that time of year, but
Ooh.
you know, anywhere on the Tennessee River other than Knoxville. But Knoxville is such a, for me, as I wear my Tennessee orange here this morning, I love the Knoxville Classic. Selfishly, it's not far from home, and it's always a good time. But now I don't have to go out there and try to chase those stingy largemouth and smallmouth around. But Knoxville's a big time. I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to you hoisting a trophy. I'm calling it right here. Low budget life. Sorry to Justin Atkins, one of my best bros in life as well. Sorry, buddy. I'm picking Pat. He's got the momentum on his side. It's happening. And he's talking about Knoxville. And now I feel like the fish gods are going to shine on you. And then Knoxville's always going to be a special place in your heart, Pat Schlapper. So it's coming.
I hope so. I mean, and Knoxville it's an awesome town, awesome venue. Yeah. Like everything's close. You know, I sure hope they do something with the boat ramp for us this year. You know, that's the only other bad thing. But like, you know, Ray Roberts, we were driving 2.5, 3 hours one way every day and coming back through traffic, which I understand why, you know,
yeah,
you got to have the right setup to have a classic. But that's the cool thing about Knoxville is it's all right there. It's great for the fans. Yeah. It's great for us because we're driving 10 minutes to the ramp. It's really cool in that regard. Like you said, though, man, I just wish it was Gunnersville or Pickwick or somewhere, you know, which, you know, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I love the week. It's fun. It's a lot of work, but you know, we all have worked hard to get there, the people that are there. So we all enjoy it. And yeah, I'm hoping you're right where I find the wad of them and just catch enough of them to win. Cause if we win that one, then I don't know, then maybe things will really change for me.
Things will really change. And I know they already are for you, man. You're a good one. You're a real one from the first time I ever interviewed you. Like I said, I've been pulling for you, and I'm proud that it's tracking the way it's tracking. You've had an incredible run, man. All these classics are not hard or not easy to make, I should say. Nobody can take that from you. And I appreciate you doing this again, Pat. Make sure you're following Pat on all social media. Give him those likes and clicks, and do not be mean to Pat. Damn it. Thanks,
yeah,
dude.
Don't be mean to me. And yeah, just real quick, like working with Shields now. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Pat Schlapper Fishing, but I'm also, you know, on Shields' website, shields.com. I'm going to have my own page where
nice.
I can kind of feature stuff I used in a tournament, stuff that I like to use. You know, obviously some will be sponsor stuff, but a lot of it won't be because, you know, I bird hunt, I whitetail hunt. So it'll be from dog training stuff to, you know, upland vests to boots and fishing, line rods, reel. So I'm really excited to have that where, I don't know if I get any like thing for it, but it'll be another platform for people to see what Shields is all about, and see what I like to use. And it'll be honest stuff. Like, it's not going to be just something dumb. Like, it'll be stuff that I like and I use. And there's also a section on there where, we have our, Shields experts, our employees, where you can get feedback from them too. If you're not sure about what you need to go pheasant hunting or what you need to go elk hunting, there's some really cool stuff on there. So, that's brand new. I'm not sure what stage it's at, but when that gets going, I'll post about that, and really appreciate it if people would go check that out. It'd be good for me, and it'd be good for Shields, and I think it'll be stuff they'll find valuable. So, but yeah, thanks for having me on. I mean,
No doubt,
it's been
man.
a while, and
It's been a while.
I'm an avid listener. This is one of the three or four that are in the, in my Spotify list that I listen to every episode. And, you were the first major podcast to contact me. So, way back in the day. So I always, I'm always waiting for you to message me when something happens. So,
well,
I really appreciate it.
Well, dude, I appreciate it. And I know you get contacted a ton these days, and you've done a lot of podcasts, and I just appreciate you making the time to come back on. Cause I will tell you, that episode with you sticks out in my mind as truly one of my favorites, because like you said, you were an unknown. And now looking back, especially, like after this year and these wins, but even when you're at the classic and things, and it's just, I don't want to say you called your shot, but you called your shot, man. And it's cool to see. It's very cool to see for me. So I appreciate you being on again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Like I said, anytime. And if I don't make the day 3 cut like normal class, I'm going to make it to one of the damn parties one of these times, especially if you got Whiskey Myers there. I will be there. So
this one will be one to be at, buddy. So I want you fishing on day 3, but if you don't make it, Knoxville is the place. And I tell you what we need to do. We'll make a deal right here on Low Budget Live. We need to do a me, you, and Atkins in-person podcast. I think we would have a lot of fun. Just turn the mics on and let her loose.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. But the problem is you got to get Atkins out of bed. He's not an early riser, so it's going to have to be in the afternoon, because he usually doesn't get on the water for practice until 11 o'clock. So I don't know about getting him on a
I love you for saying that so much. That's the sleepingest human I've ever met.
I don't get it. He'll call me at 9:30 every morning of practice, and he'll be like, "Well, how's it going?" I'll be like, "Well, got a few here and there, and caught one nice one." I'm like, "What about you?" He's like, "I'm just sitting down for breakfast." I'm like, "What?" But then he still beats me. That's the frustrating part, is then he still beats me. I'm like, Jesus, I wish I was that good where I could just kind of hang out and eat breakfast burritos. And he's always telling me what he's having for breakfast while I'm like stressing out about finding a spot at 9:30. So, but that's because he's that good.
He's just that good, man. He's down and he's well rested, so he's focused. He's well rested.
Yeah. That's for sure.
J.A., man. J.A. He was one of the first people I ever had on the show. As crazy as that is, 8 years ago when he won the cup, and it was his Forest Wood Cup where this craziness started. And then we did one with him with the trophy. And he and he's been on the road so much. Normally I do one in August with him every year to kind of look back, and he brings the Forest Wood Cup. We BS. So when I texted you and said to be a special guest, he was going to come here. When I asked you to do
I knew that's what it was.
Yeah,
I knew that's what it would be. A little
bit, but we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. And like I said, I just appreciate you doing this, man. Big time.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me on anytime. I really appreciate it.
Well, y'all make sure you're supporting Pat in every way you can. He's one of the real ones. Pat Schlapper, everybody. Well, that's all she wrote with Pat Schlapper right there, man. I appreciate him joining me, and I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in and watching and listening every week and bearing with me there through some cell phone issues on Pat's end there. But man, what a great message. The positivity that Pat puts off, the confidence again, the story about Shields still supporting him after a 20-year career, man, and the Brazzalo story, all the things. That was fun. Really enjoyed that. Hope you did as much as I did. All right. Going to take you out with some Biloxi Blues. Hope y'all have a great week. And I'll see y'all next time. Maybe I won't sound like, I kind of sound like Don Day. If you know Don Day does the Bassmaster Classic. He's like a radio DJ out of Montgomery. Cool dude. Been around for, coming up next, here we go. Randy Howell. I don't know. I don't sound like Don Day, but see ya. Delirious. See ya.
Tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.